Hello, good evening, and welcome back to the Mancunian Way. Hope we are all good. My name is Martin. I'm your host, and I'm joined by our very own Pat and Rich. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good morning. Very well, thank you.
Good, Martin. I have to say, I just got up from a really deep sleep. So if our guest Petey wasn't on today, I would have assumed we're getting ready to do the preview for Arsenal. Because I don't know if I've slept for a whole night or slept for 2 weeks straight.
Did DC set the alarm clock?
Funnily enough, I did. But like I said, I could have set the alarm clock for 7:30 on the 31st of March for all I know.
I'm joking, DC. You know how it goes, DC. Gotta have a bit of a laugh on here. And we are joined by our very own Newcastle rep, who is no stranger to you all. You know who he is. Pete, PD Proudlock. How are you, mate? Well, how are you since I spoke to you in the last 10 minutes?
Yeah, very well. Thanks for coming on the preview before.
Well, I can't help it when she replies back with that.
Well, hopefully it's the only thing we're guilty of.
Didn't realise DC came from Peru. Anyway, what's the nickname? Parrot and Bear? Anyway. Should we get serious?
Move on quickly.
For a minute?
Sorry, DC.
Sorry, Pete. It's no DC. Don't mind. It's a bit of a laugh. You know, we like a laugh on here.
No, it's all about.
By the way, I must start a little bit of housekeeping. I seemed to upset a few people the other night from my little rant, so I do apologise. I don't like going out and having a pop at the club. It's not something we do on the channel. We don't overly like doing it, but when we see something that is a bit, we're going to be honest about it. That's the way we are as a channel.
Well, that's it.
But we're not going to come in here and go, yeah, everything's, you know me. I'm 99% happy clapping. You know I am. There's just that 1% of me that Rich wants me to push out all the time. No, that sounds wrong. There's that 1% of Rich that no, forget it. I'm moving on. It can't.
Biggest 1% in the world, isn't it, Rich?
Good evening, Mingy.
The most disproportional 1% in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because Rich is never available for Rich rants anymore, so we have to do the impromptu ones. Rich's dogs are
available. They've said I'm available.
They want me to typing away right now about you.
They're ranting about you not ranting.
They want to rant. They want me to rant. They've just expressed it very.
No, I'm promising you now, Blue Art is typing away. Richie's dogs are ranting for you. I bet he is. Anyway, just to let you know, Edison is out for 4 weeks. Yes. Ortega would have been playing either way tomorrow, Mingy Wong. Good opportunity to go to Wembley again. Not for my wallet. Really not. Really not. Remember to smash that thumbs up. It really does help your channel, and it is your channel. I do apologize, we were just finishing up over on Pete's great channel, PD Proudlock. Get over there in the description. The links are there. Get over there and watch the preview we've just done with Pete, Mason, and myself. How dare you keep us legacy fans waiting? Do you not care anymore? You see what I have to deal with. Evening, Steve. How are you, mate? Blue Art, I've seen a couple of yawns go past. Good evening to the millions in the chat, we wish. Must be paying for trophy picks. that show's just not gonna live up, is it? Good evening, G Papa. How are you, mate? Yes, Jaden. DC is here, as we know. Lee Judges, who's pretending to be Lee Judges, is here. Happy Thursdays, everyone. Just a quick one to the mods. Listen, I do appreciate all you mods are amazing and you do an amazing job. Just be careful on timing out straight away, because one or two are getting a bit trigger happy, and I don't know why. Just relax. If they're having a bit of banter, let them do the banter. Just you're always just there on the side of caution before you go straight into banning. But I do appreciate you are looking after your channel. I do appreciate that. I know your hard work. Ale, good evening. Good evening, Sean. Good show on PD channel. Thought I would stick my head in the room and see what's going to be like for the tune in a few, probably 10 years. You won't have a soul. You won't have a soul. That's what I got told. Martin. I might have spelled my name. You had me questioning my name there. Big Morgan. Hello, Pete. Top Geordie. Welcome, sir.
All right.
Evening, Martin, Rich, and Pat.
David.
DC, we did that one. Gilter. Good evening, Anthony. How are you? Sean. Just saying hello. Caribbean Racer. We know he's not he's just coming for calling. Good evening to the most awesome Mr. PD Proudluck.
Thanks very much.
Are Arsenal in danger of FFP? They weren't on the list I saw. Rich, you're on mute.
No, Arsenal were well clear, well safe. They were about 30, 40 million better than people were expecting. So they've spent a lot, but obviously not spending in quite as much as they could have done.
Martin turning to Alan. How dare you? I'm going to have to change the background. It's not working. It's because I'm wearing a light jumper. It doesn't work with the green screen. Great Rich's dogs. I told you he was going to make the comment. I knew it was coming before he'd even mentioned it.
The dogs have said hello to both Blue Heart and DC. I'll get them on the charity stream. I'll get them on camera.
Right.
They can actually
FIFA,
say it live.
Know, the lead judges one, he made his account yesterday and then went on multiple city channels putting the same line in. So that's how I know the guys are troll. It's not really lead judges. Is KDB being saved or truly injured? We will get into that. But it's very weird how we suddenly got an injury a few days before internationals about to begin. Weird, that one. Super City, Adam McCullough. There's no helping some. We don't play tomorrow. No, you know what I mean? Saturday. Well, no, they play tomorrow because they're 12 hours ahead of us in Australia, mate.
No, they're still playing 2 days. Sunday morning.
No ranting, Rich. Bad enough the dogs running. Yeah, don't forget, GoFundMe page for Stepping Hill Hospital for all the medical bills that they are raising. Lovely cause. Thank you, FIFA. Only Blue in the Village. Good evening. What you think about the ticket tout situation? Get into that later on in the show. I will start that and come back to it, Cade. Thank you, SOS, for renewing your membership for the 10th month. You are amazing. Thank you so much. Channel mods on they're not a disgrace. What's happening is, Chris, we're getting a lot of trolls at the minute and people are just being a bit more careful. We're getting a lot of it's happening. I'm noticing it around multiple city channels. There's a lot of trolls going in trying to be clever with the 115 stuff and everything else. So just calm down, mods, and just have a look first. Because they might just be having a bit of fun. We'll get into that. I'll start that because we'll get into that part of the show if Pete's got time to go into the PSR stuff. Only banning if it's offensive or constant trolling. Spot on, Super City. Thank you, mate. No, somebody's doing it, FIFA. I'll find out who it is. I might have to change some of the mods around if it continues. Why are all Arsenal West Ham fans always timed out? No, listen, Arsenal, all rival fans are welcome on the channel, and a bit of banter is fine as long as we don't start being silly and being offensive. So if they're not City fans, let them in as long as they're not offensive. So any mods, allow them in as long as otherwise it's just going to get silly. There's a reputation where we don't allow any fans to come in. We don't want that. We're a family. Right, let's get into it. Manchester City play Newcastle. FA Cup quarter-final. One step away from the Etihad of the South again. We'll start with our guest, Pete. How are you feeling about this game? Because I've seen a lot of negativity in your fan base at the minute. It seems to be split down the middle between Eddie Howe in and Eddie Howe out.
Yeah, I'm not feeling hopeful, I must admit, to be honest. I am still pretty annoyed from that Chelsea game. I thought that would have been a good opportunity to get a win, and we completely threw that and gifted them the win. unfortunately. And when you can't beat a poor team like Chelsea, who are an individual team, and then you're coming up against the champions of all people, it doesn't fill you with much confidence at all. And in terms,
we can't beat Chelsea.
Well, in terms of the Eddie Howe in, and this, we know there's a lot of split opinions on this. I'm not on Eddie Howe just yet, but he needs question on the decisions he's making at the moment. It's like it's like in his final season at Bournemouth a little bit. Persistent with players who are just simply not at the races. And one of them, for me, is Sean Longstaff, who's had a rotten few games, and Eddie Howe still persists in playing him. And he's not having the balls to take him out the team. And that's really disappointing. And it's disappointing when it's one of your own local players of all time as well, he's got the attitude of not, I don't care on the pitch. That's what we're seeing from him, and that's really disappointing. And Eddie Howe's not having the balls to take him off the pitch. He's persisting him with the full of the game. Like he did against Chelsea. We see him play for the 120 minutes against Blackburn when he was atrocious in that game. We're like taking what creative play off in Bruno when we're 3-1 down. So, as I mentioned, I'm not Eddie Howe yet, but the questions need to start to be asked. But it's not making me hopeful for Saturday at all. If we go a goal down very early in the game, it could be a very long night for us.
Ozzy will be on. Ozzy's going to tag team with Rich. Rich will tag out and Ozzy will tag in. Go on, Rich. What do you think? What do you think? Your initial thoughts on it?
I'm reasonably optimistic. Actually, I think there's been a lot of gnashing of teeth by City fans this week because we couldn't win at Anfield, and I think it's possibly the hardest game we could play in world football, and we still get a draw, and we're seeing the fans in meltdown a bit. So when your expectations and everything get so high, it does almost get a bit silly. But I think we are in good form. Isn't it 21 unbeaten or something, and 19 wins from 21. We're in really good form. With the exception of Jack, and obviously Kevin will have to be rested. We're pretty much at full strength. Most players playing well. So, Newcastle haven't come to the Etihad for quite a while and look like they think they're going to win. So, every rational thing says, it should be a game that we should win, on form and the way the games have gone at the Etihad. So, I feel reasonably relaxed about it. They are a good team. They're not consistent this year like last year, but I've still seen Newcastle putting some very good performances this year, and they've got some very good players. But I just think we'll have too much this weekend, and I've just got a feeling we're getting the Scousers in the FA Cup final, because I just think that Klopp, Pep hype has got one more thing to come. So whether it's in the semi-final or whether it's in the final, I've got a kind of feeling fate has us destined to play them.
Rich, I think we'll play them in the semi-final, because that's usually how they play it. They play it almost like as if it's like a second final.
Yeah, well, but I just have this sneaky feeling.
Yeah,
as in, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think Look, I'm confident going to this, of course, and I'd be all okay if some players rested regardless of international break or not, because any rest right now is good rest for players. My only hope is this international break for us has come at a good time, and this is one good last sort of kick around for the lads, just to in the hope that we can progress to another semi-final at Wembley, hopefully. But no, look, I'm interested to hear more what Petey has to say, because I think it's funny, because I was looking at Newcastle's position and thinking maybe the FA Cup's a good chance for you guys to see how far you can go and maybe get your foot in the door in Europe that way. But then I've just realised you're only 3 points off from the last of the European spots. So I'm curious to find out if you, mate, like what overall generally, well, what's yours and what do you think most of the fan base are like which eggs in which basket do you think it would be more for at the moment?
You mean, see, the FA Cup would be a great trophy to win.
Yeah.
But a lot of fans just don't have the confidence we'll get through it on Saturday. So that otherwise people that say that the season's going to be over. I mean, we've still got a chance of Europe. We're going to be out. Champions League's out for us, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But there's still possibly a chance of, still a slight chance of Europa League, or there's definitely a chance of the conference as well. But I just think this would have been a perfect chance to go for it. We just missed out on the Carabao Cup last year, unfortunately. So
do you think the fan base's priorities would change if you were to beat us? Because if you beat us, I mean, that you'd have the wind at your back, and
I would say it all depends. Can we go and win the next game? Because at the moment, it's like we'll win one game, but then we come up short in the next game. Unfortunately, that's been the problem.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Should we go to misery goats?
Right. That'll be good.
Yeah. I think we'll win. I think we'll win quite comfortably.
Bloody hell. Bloody hell. Hang on. Hold on that page.
Clip that.
I think after our performance last week, which was dreadful against Liverpool.
He has to go some negativity in it.
Yeah, no, we weren't dreadful.
He'll still be doing his analysis at the end of season review. Don't worry, Martin. Just let let the man talk. Let the man speak.
No, we were absolutely dreadful second half. It was like watching us against Southampton in the League Cup years ago. It was terrible. But I think they'll get a kick up the arse, and I think we'll play well on weekend. I think we'll win against Newcastle. No disrespect to Newcastle, because unlike Martin, but I kind of like Newcastle, so. The fans are good lads and girls and etc. Well, I'd just like going to St James's, but we're playing at Etihad. I think we'll do them at the Etihad. I really do think that. Against Liverpool, we were shocking, but hopefully they'll kick them up the arse because they need it after last week. And obviously I felt cheered up after listening to Adam's uneducated rant. So, on Sky Sports and the United fan with Gary Neville and Carrick on the overlap, going on about the 115 charges, etc. So, yeah, he's a prick. But there we go. So I was
Blue Heart Eddie. Yeah, Blue Heart Eddie playing the FA Cup.
Yeah.
And Alan, I think it says something about City when we call a display shocking when we get a draw in probably the hardest game we could play in world football. I think maybe that's
and we got a draw playing terrible.
Is a slight exaggeration.
Simple. And we were shocking, mate. You know that.
Yeah, PJ's going to worry in a minute when Pat and me start talking to him about whether Newcastle's dipped the seasons because Chris Wood was let go.
Yeah.
What I will ask. Yep. Obviously, the news has come out. Kevin De Bruyne has a precautionary groin injury 3 days before international break happens.
Good. Well, he can stay at home and rest.
So he's out for this game. Positive for you, Pete?
Little bit, but not really, considering Haaland will play, Foden will play, Bernardo Silva will play, Alvarez will play. Really good players, top players.
Yeah. Alan, you worried about no KDB?
Well, he made the difference to St James's, didn't. Let's be honest. We didn't look like we were going to score until he came on. And it all changed when he came on the pitch. Well, yeah, you can say that, but he does make a difference to us. So, but the players will have to do what they have to do, and Foden's got to step up and play midfield, and so Bernardo and do the business.
Sorry, hang on. I need to reverse you right now. Did you just say Foden needs to step up?
Yeah.
Why has he had a bang average season?
No. KDB's our best player.
Not this season, Ian, Alan. Foden's been our best player this season by a country mile.
He's a KDB to us, mate, and you know he does. So I'll disagree with you that. KDB's still our best player.
You just said that Foden needs to step up.
Well, he does step up and play midfield at his place. He does.
What I think, and this is a bit of a thing, is I don't think we've seen the best really of Foden and KDB when they're both playing. I think Foden has been actually at his absolute best when he has the total freedom, and KDB hasn't been playing. And in some ways, KDB's been at his best, like for example Luton, where he had total freedom and Foden wasn't there. I don't think we've quite mastered playing the two of them together in the middle. I think the best we do is play Foden wide front with KDB in the middle, but I think that means that Foden's not at his best. So I do think that is a slight problem for us, but I do think KDB needs playing every second game, because he is such a phenomenal player, but you can see when he's played 2 games in quick succession, he's not as young as he was. He's not, so he does need resting. So I think the injury's good, whether it's real or not. I think having 3 weeks will be great for him, and I think we'll see the best of Foden without KDB. I think he'll be our best player on the weekend.
Yep, I agree too, mate. Yep. I don't know if this is like some sort of a tactical injury, called by City for Kevin, but I'd rather have him fresh and ready to go against Arsenal, because let's be honest, he's been the bane of their existence for many years now. He's got like 7 or 8 goals and probably the same amount of assists against them, some crazy stat. So I'd rather have him safe for that one anyway. But look, just another opportunity for Phil to shine in this game. And I remember, if there's one game that stands out, coincidentally, it was actually when we played Newcastle at home in the league earlier in the season. He just ran the show. He just ran the show, and I'm hoping for the same as well. But look, I think at the moment I'm just all about player, resting players, player rejuvenation, and just getting ready for that running after the international break. But look, I'm overall with this game, I'm just hoping that we see something entertaining. Hope Newcastle put in a bit of a performance. I hope we do the same thing too. Yeah.
I mean, Pete, where is it you think Newcastle could hurt City at the weekend?
Oh, I think the defence could be gone out at times. I think we caught you out defensively a couple of times. I think we did when we drew the 3-3s with you as well. I thought we did when we went 2-1 ahead at St James's Park when we lost the game 3-2. So I think sometimes at the back, I think you can be got up.
I agree with that. Our defence is not exactly watertight at the moment.
It's just little things. It's the odd, the bad back pass by Ake.
When you say that, but I think since Everton at home, our defence has actually really improved.
We're still making little mistakes, though. Like Ake.
But it's just moments. It's not based on we're always constantly getting beaten. Sorry. And I think like that defensive offside trap against United was a bit suspect at times, but against Liverpool it was nearly perfect. So they're obviously spotting the things and they're working on them. And I think I'm not going to be too hard on Ake because he's not someone who makes mistakes. That's true.
I mean, it's a weird one because I do understand what. I mean, I do understand the defence part because we are. I think what's mainly worse is we're conceding our first chance. I think that's, but also I would say, and again, people accuse me of being happy clapper. We're conceding just screamers at the minute. There are some world-class goals going in against us, like the United one. You're not stopping it. The Copenhagen one, it was a wonderful goal. But the trouble is, we've come into this situation where we can't say the opponents have just scored a marvellous goal. It's our defence is a bag of crap. And I think we've got to be judged. We've got to be careful because
I would say a bag of crap, Martin. But what I would say is we do during games we do switch off for periods, and that's what costs us. And,
but we don't concede a lot.
Yeah, but mate, we do
switch. We concede one and done. I know it's the first shot, but it's usually one and done. Yeah,
but we are. I think everyone must got to agree and say we do go through periods where we do switch off in games.
No, Alan, that I agree with, but statistically, we're not conceding a lot more than we did last season.
Yeah.
In the league, we conceded at this time last year, we conceded 27 goals. This time this year, we've conceded 28. So for as bad as our defence has been, we've only conceded one more goal.
I think the big thing about defenses too is it's not necessarily about what did you do compared to last season. I think is it still below the league average for this particular season. I think that's just as important too. Because how many goals you concede in one season doesn't mean anything if it means that you conceded the same amount, but you're fifth in the table compared to first. It's a big
Well, even
it's a stat you can use, but it's better to rate it based on what you're doing with opposition in that current season.
Yeah, and to be honest, you can concede 20 goals at the right time and it doesn't matter. But one goal at the wrong time in the quarterfinal of the Champions League, or one goal at the wrong time if it's a close game against Newcastle and you're out, and that goal's the end of a tournament. So, I think we have. Maybe it's a higher proportion of sloppy goals from mistakes this season, because it just does seem that we're just not quite that tight. But I do think part of that is that we all remember last season based on February to May. We don't remember it based on August to January. Yeah, and if we looked at how we played up to the Spurs game in January. We weren't very good a lot. We went October, November, December, not very good last season. But we all forget about that. We all forget about not being able to score at Copenhagen or losing to Brentford or being lucky at Brighton and Fulham. We forget about that because of the treble. But, every team has hard parts to a season and every team has good parts. We just ended strong.
Yeah. One thing I will do agree with you, Alan, is I think we are switching off when we're conceding the first shot, but we're not conceding a lot after that.
Yeah, but it's going to cost it. We went Rich is your point. When we went 4 centre halves at the back in January, that then made a difference to us.
But we're not doing that now. We've changed. Because the thing is, Alan, you got to admit, and Pete, you probably noticed this up at your place. Teams last season, teams weren't going a full back 10 like they are this season. Every time we generally play a team now, it's a straight back 10. Because if you look, the only way they are getting in with us is a ball over the top. That's the problem, because that's the only way they can get through. Because they're not coming over the halfway line to do it. The only time teams that have done that is when we had that 3 or 4 game spell where Pep changed it all and wanted to play basketball. I just need to answer this by Anthony. What is the deal with Savio? As what I've heard, he's going to go on pre-season and then they'll make a decision from there. And I just need to do this super chat. Thank you so much from Doors to Doors with your £5. You are a legend. Evening Blues and Peter. Here's a £5, Martin. Thanks for your hard work at the Mancunian way over the last few months. Cheers. Say till I die. Much appreciated. And you'll never, ever need to thank us, but it really is appreciated. Thank you. I mean, I get it. I do get it. I think we're playing rip-roaring football right now? No. Do I think we've made errors? 100%. Do I agree with Pat, though? Do I think we're getting better defensively? 1,000% we're getting a lot better defensively. If you actually look at it, and this is a weird thing, statistically, do you know what's costing us a lot this year? Is our missed big chances. We've scored 13 goals less than we did at this time last season.
Yeah, we don't.
That's the problem. It's not actually the conceding. If we'd have put our chances to bed, we would whip teams 5-6-0.
But we didn't have most. We didn't have most of the last season without Haaland and De Bruyne. Haaland's missed 2 months. De Bruyne's missed 4. So
well, De Bruyne's missed 5.
Yeah, and so you know it's not really a true like for like comparison.
No, it's a weird one. It is a weird one. Personally, the KDB stuff, I think it's getting him ready for Arsenal. Someone was asking, is Gordon definitely out for you, Pete?
I'm not sure yet. We'll get more on when Eddie does his press conference tomorrow. But the good thing is he has avoided a serious injury because it was coming out to say that he could miss up to 6 to 7 months. But I'm glad that's all been cleared as well. And those people in the know that came out reported that, along with another journalist who I cannot stand, and that's Luke Edwards.
You should know, Pete, that all journalists lie, so don't worry about it.
You're not wrong there.
You know, all
and water is wet. Yep.
They do. I don't trust any of them.
All right. So when Jack Gordon came out with the Haaland news 5 months before he signed, did you not believe him?
Mate, they all lie.
That's a stupid question to ask, Martin. Of course you know what he's going to say.
Yeah, they all lie. End of.
It's not true. He's not holding the shirt up.
Yeah. Till he's holding that shirt, even though I was celebrating when Haaland got announced 5 months beforehand.
Yeah,
I don't care, Martin, if you sent me a video of him getting out of the black Mercedes van in front of the ground. He's not holding a shirt.
All journalists are professional liars and professional agenda fucking subjects. That's all they do.
But Coffee, is Edison injured? Can we fancy our chance with Ortega in goal?
Yeah.
Ortega was always going to play this game whether you liked it or not.
Yeah.
It didn't matter whether Edison was injured. Ortega was playing. And personally, and you can go around the room on this. We talk about this on yours, Pete. I don't think there's a better number 2 in the Premier League right now than Stefan Ortega.
I think Ortega's not a bad keeper myself. Yeah, I think he's a decent keeper.
You obviously haven't been reading Rourke because Kelleher's the second best goalkeeper in the world after Alisson.
Yeah, I don't listen to
No, he's the best keeper in the world now.
Oh, is he? It's Alisson's second there. Okay. Just checking. No,
2 yellows.
I don't see it. Yeah, I don't think we'll see much of a drop off from Ortega at all. And in some ways, I think it'd be good for Ortega to get a few games just to give Edison, because I think Edison sometimes needs a little kick up the jacksie, and I think it'll actually do Edison good if he has a few games out. And I think Edison is clearly better with his feet, but I think Edison may actually be slightly behind Ortega in terms of actually shot stopping and making saves. So I think Ortega does perhaps take us a little bit off offensively, but he might improve us, in terms of his actual goalkeeping, which has been absolutely sound. He's just not quite the miracle passer that Edison is, but no other keeper is.
Yeah, right, Rich. Because I've always said about Ortega, I've always felt like the perfect way to sort of compare Ortega and Edison would be like if you're in a cup final, Edison's there for your 90 minutes. If it goes to extra time, then you bring in Ortega for the extra time and the penalties. Because I think Ortega's a better shot stopper, easily a better shot stopper. Yeah, but
if you want a goalkeeper to take the 10th penalty and score, you wouldn't pick anyone in the world over Edison. So you might bring on Edison back on again halfway through the penalty.
By the way, just to let everyone know, we beat Tottenham away with Ortega in that. And
Yeah, true.
Ortega's
Yeah.
a great.
I'll
Ortega's
take-
done nothing. He's done nothing wrong for City. I mean,
we didn't concede a goal in the FA Cup last season until the final.
That's right. Yeah. And it was the
And
dodgiest
Ortega
penalty of
was
all
in
time.
there all the
Yep.
way through. So to answer any Newcastle man, no, there is no concern with Ortega being in there from any of us. It was something we're prepared for anyway. Ortega will play, including the final, if we ever got there. If we got to the final, it'd be Ortega in that.
Yeah.
That's just what Pep does. But sadly, you're going to ask me, do I think Ortega will be here next season? No, I don't. I think he'll be gone because I think he deserves, and rightfully so, deserves to be playing number one somewhere.
Well, the thing is, just a question for you. If Ortega plays really well against Newcastle, if Ederson's still injured for Arsenal and Ortega has a good game, then Ortega has a good game in a quarter-final of the Champions League. Do you actually think that Pep would drop him if he had the shirt and was in really good form? I'm not sure he would.
Yeah, he would.
So no, I'm not sure he would. Ortega's never had a run of big games and excelled in big games. He's had one or two, relatively free hit games. So I'm not sure.
Ederson's
He did start a cup final against United.
He is the number one, but we've had number ones that once, look at Laporte. Laporte was just absolute number one, and other players got in, played well. Laporte didn't get straight back in, and we've seen it with other players not getting straight back in. So I reckon if Ortega comes in, plays 4 games or something, keeps 4 clean sheets, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Ederson will go straight back in.
Yeah, I think it's, I don't know, Rich, I think it's a little bit tricky because, when it's based on form, I think Pep's still going to go with, his first choice, regardless of who's in form. It's not like, I'm going to go back to, Pellegrini's first season. Remember when we had Pantilimon in there for a whole bunch of games because Joe Hart just wasn't in the best of form and his head just wasn't in the right headspace. So I think unless Ederson gets into that sort of position, then maybe that's when you'll probably see Ortega play a few more games. But again, like you said, mate, I mean, the guy's quality enough and he's got enough form that he could do it. But
the thing is, Rich,
I just don't think Pep will still go Ederson. That's the problem.
Sorry, they have tried to sit with him on a new contract, Rich, and there's no progress on it, mate.
Well, no,
the belief is that he'll be gone in the summer.
Yeah, because if he comes in and he plays brilliantly, he's got a fair chance of getting the place. Then why would he stay? It'd be silly.
But I know what Rich happened. Ask Pete. If Nick Pope would have been fit, Dubravka wouldn't have been in the net. Doesn't matter how good Dubravka was playing at the minute. Pope's going to go straight back in when he's fully fit. And
he will do. He will.
That's just football, Rich. That's the price you pay as the number 2 goalie, I'm afraid, mate.
Well, it's football, except we've seen with, when we had, Joe Hart came in. Joe Hart was probably number 3 and he became number 1 because of form. And,
that's because we had a lot of crap in front of him.
Oh, no, you can't. Wasn't it Given and Schmeichel? They're not crap.
But then it became.
Let's not talk. We go back to that age. At least we don't have to worry about Loris Karius anymore. Don't remind Pete. He's probably going to have bloody trauma when he thinks about that bloke.
Yeah, I just think that, and I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that people assume 100%, and it may be 90%, but I do think that. If he came in and he had 3 or 4 storming games, we beat Arsenal, we beat Real Madrid in a quarterfinal or whoever we get, and he played really well, I don't think it would be a foregone conclusion that it would just be automatically rolled back. Especially given half our fans think Ederson cost us. I mean, I don't personally. I blame Ake completely, but half our fans think it was entirely Ederson's fault. We gave away the point at Anfield.
Either way, I think
time will tell.
Yeah, of course. I think at the end of the day, most of us, most people out there just think like Ederson or Ortega, it's a win-win anyway. Because it's a number two that pretty much 99% of the fan base is absolutely ecstatic with, given the quality of play. He can still do a lot of the things that Edison does, maybe not with the same quality, but what you're lacking in playing from out for the back, you actually gain in a better shot stopper. Yeah. The other thing too is that I think it's so reassuring to have someone like Ortega in there, given all the issues that we'd had with the previous keeper with Zach Steffen. To have such an upgrade in the number two keeper, I think it's just really, really reassuring. I mean, I don't know if we could speak for all of the fan base out there, but I'm sure most of them would say, "Yeah, we're so satisfied having a quality number two like Ortega." And then the big dilemma will become who do we replace him with if we have to.
The most likely scenario is Edison's fit for Arsenal, and he'll be, the international break saves him. So I mean, there is a fair chance that most players get back from injuries.
Edison injuries never go for as long as what they project them to. Whenever they've had an injury, he says he's out for a month. He comes back in less than a fortnight. He always heals pretty quickly.
We're getting him out of going to Brazil.
Yes. There is an article out at the moment that I'm just trying to get up because I am actually a member of the Athletic, which some will say why. So I'm just trying to get the article up now that Sam Lee's done, and it does talk about why there is an impasse within the contract negotiations. I'm just going to get it up now. Why is that doing that? Anyway, right, Pete. People are asking within the chat, why is the issues with Eddie Howe at the moment? Why is there a split within the camp?
I think people still want him in because of what he's done, how far he's taken us. We're going in the Champions League last season. I think people want him out, thinking because I want to higher in the table. We've got out of the Champions League, or is he making the simple decisions, simple mistakes that a manager shouldn't be doing? Playing players, as I mentioned, who are just not performing at all.
Pete, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? I think the only reason Newcastle can move forward at the moment from where they are right now and where they have been the last 12 months is purely not to do with Eddie Howe. It's not to do with the people at the top of Newcastle. It's to do with the Premier League and the stupid FFP rules, right?
Yeah, I agree with that completely. It totally is.
Yep. If anyone's to blame, it's the red cartel who want the power in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's not all down to Eddie Howe. It's FFP's been a barrier this season.
If he was allowed, if Newcastle were allowed to spend rightfully, Mike, we've done the same, right? Go and get the players that they want to every year get better and better and better. They're being stopped by the red cartel and the in the Premier League because they now want the power. And
they do.
They're getting to
they want to keep the power. They want to keep the power.
They want it. They do. I can't disagree with that as well.
And the Newcastle fans have got to realise that it's not jumping on the bone. I rate Eddie Howe. I personally
so do I. I really do. I really do as well.
I think,
as a top manager.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah, but he's nowhere near.
I think. But I don't think you could have a Klopp or a Pep at Newcastle with the constraints they've got. Well, and I don't think that would be the. I think
I'll put it in a better way to Alan. This is no knock. I think Eddie Howe's a good manager.
Yes, very good.
I don't think he can take you where you want to go.
I know you've
That's just my personal opinion. He will never attract the world's top players.
To me, it just feels like a Mark Hughes. It feels like a Mark Hughes at City situation.
Exactly.
Everyone would have said the same about Ferguson at Aberdeen or Klopp when he was at Mark.
That was 25 years ago.
But Martin, you don't become on day one the global manager that everyone signs for, except probably
you tell me what Eddie Howe's done
because he was at Barca.
You say, make you think he can win a Premier League or a Champions League?
Newcastle. Hang on. Newcastle would win the Premier League if they were allowed to spend money.
Yeah, I think they'd have a shot. If Newcastle had been allowed to sign a couple more world-class midfielders and another forward this season, it would have been they'd be up there.
Nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying that. My point is, Alan. All right, then, who's a better manager, Mancini or Howe?
Time will tell.
And whoa! See, I've got him now. I've got him.
See,
Hey, don't come to me with that one, because you know how much I like Mancini, right?
So that's my point, Alan. So
that's right.
Mancini,
but who's available now? Because Klopp's out of the picture, because he's not going to banish anyone for at least a year and a half, 2 years, right? Anyone now, and Klopp won't manage anyone but Liverpool and England, which is a fact, right? But from now, who's available that is better than Howe?
And that would want a job where they're not allowed to spend any money.
And would want a job where they're not allowed, because Man United, Liverpool and Arsenal and maybe Spurs, right, and turn around and say, you're not allowed to spend any money because we're anti-competitive.
All right, hang on. So, as Pete, we talked about yours, Mancini's been linked with the job.
He has been.
Now, I personally think him getting the job as the Saudi international manager was his way in the door.
It was. Yeah, but it's not all down to Eddie Howe this season where we are. I mean, as I mentioned, the FFP has been a problem, and we've been
Alan, let him finish.
And we've been absolutely crippled with injuries this season. Particularly when you at least have a few key players out missing for such quite a long time. And I'll be happy to say good riddance to our medical staff come the end of the season, because they have been absolutely massive responsible for the injuries we've had this season.
Let them come back too early.
Yep, either come back too early or they're giving them injections when they need the surgery.
Is Trolls a Newcastle vampire, I'm presuming?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, how isn't a top manager? A top manager makes changes before shit happens, not after.
Well, I agree with that. He's getting some big things completely wrong at the moment, but it's definitely not all down to Eddie Howe this season where we are.
No, I agree. You've had shocking injuries. I agree.
Yeah.
Where are you at with the Eddie Howe? I know we're way up, some we'll come back to in a minute. Where are you at with it, Pat? What do you think?
Just see parallels to what the Mark Hughes era at City. It was just a case of you could only take you so far in a way. But the difference between Mark Hughes at City and I think Eddie Howe with Newcastle is I still think there's a good enough manager in there to get you at bare minimum a cup run, to get you a domestic cup, or or again even another race at a top four, even in a way. But I think Eddie Howe, if he really wants to have a legacy as a manager, he needs to have something in his honours list. So I've always thought that he's a good enough manager to get you a domestic cup. But again, given the way modern football is these days, a cup will only tell you so much, but a top four can make you relevant overnight in a way. And I say that with the utmost respect, of course. But I think sorry, Rich, I was going to say if Eddie Howe was able to get Newcastle a trophy, I'm not saying I think he's capable of getting him a domestic trophy, but I think that's what he needs if he wants to continue his career and maybe move on to other clubs. But also too, I think that's what you really need to springboard this new Saudi ownership, and that's what you need, similar to what we did in 2011 with the FA Cup. But I think that's what you need to kickstart yourself. To kickstart it, whether Howe can do it or whether it's a Mancini or even a probably another upper tier manager, it remains to be seen. But I think he should put all his eggs in a basket. And I think he needs to, I think if he wants to be remembered, he needs to look at the honours. And I think it'd be good for your club if he was able to get you to a point where you can get a trophy and just propel you to something bigger and better.
Absolutely.
Can I ask you a question, Martin? While we're talking about FFP blocking Newcastle and everyone else, to be honest with you, is there truth in the rumour that City have taken the Premier League to court over FFP and FFP to court? Is that true? I've seen a few press or is it another one of the
Where's
press
that
line?
come from,
Some
Alan?
sponsorship thing.
Yeah.
It was to do with some relative.
Yes, they're not taking them to court. No,
Yeah.
there's not. They're not taking them to court.
So-
And let's do it to destroy them. No, they're not.
No, City are taking them to court, not us.
No, Alan.
So obviously the press are lying again.
No, it's not press. We are looking at different. There's aspects, things, Alan.
Right.
We're looking at the sponsorship aspect, not the taking the Premier League to court to destroy them like you want.
I want them
No,
to.
they're not
I
doing
want
that.
them to.
Alan.
Yeah.
I think going back to the topic on how I think everyone's been a bit unfair that you actually have to build something to achieve. If you actually look at Klopp's career, it's not dissimilar to Howe's. Klopp went to Mainz. He was there for 8 years.
Yeah, he
He
was.
went and he finally got his opportunity, having arguably achieved less than Howe did at Bournemouth, getting Bournemouth, who are a tiny club. You know, I was there a few weeks ago. It's 11,000. It's like going to Wickham, except they're a Premier League. They're a mid-table, nearly Premier League club. And that was built on Eddie Howe. So 8 years Klopp was at Mainz. He then went to Dortmund, and he didn't win anything, I think, for 3 years when he got to Dortmund. So Klopp was 11 years into his managerial career before he actually won anything. So it's not like Klopp was just born and he's going to win a Champions League. It's same with Ferguson. He went through, was it Motherwell? And he went through Aberdeen for many, many years before actually that clicked. So I think this idea that how, because he hasn't won a Champions League by the time he's like 45, that he can't be a good manager would have discounted Bob Paisley. It would have discounted
Rich.
It would have discounted Joe Mercer.
I'm not saying Rich. I'm not saying he's not a good manager. You're being disingenuous there.
But at Eddie Howe's age, most of these great managers like Bob Paisley or Alex Ferguson weren't great managers. Jurgen Klopp wasn't 10 years into his career. So
Ferguson got the time. It's whether Newcastle will give. Because honestly, Rich, you speak to a lot of Newcastle fans, they are not impressed with Howe, mate. And they watch him week in, week out.
Yeah, but I watch City fans thinking that us drawing at Anfield's a disaster, having a meltdown, and half the players need to be solid.
Listen, this is the part I get.
It's the hyperbole of modern football fans.
The only thing we are similar in, Rich, is having rich owners. We are not similar after that at the moment. We can be, but it's a long time down the line.
Yeah, but don't forget, he's also blocked from taking Newcastle further forward.
No, well, we're going to get onto that. Anyway,
it's safe to say both our clubs have an FFP ball and chain around our ankles. The only thing with Newcastle is I think that their ball is heavier and bigger.
FFP is not going to change. It will change, but FFP will always be there in some form.
Yeah, and Pat, honestly, the new rules help City more than nearly any.
Well, this is where we're going to go on to in a minute. Anyway,
I have to drop though.
I know you do, because you always love to do hit and runs. Let's go down. Let's do win, lose, or draw. Pete, who's going through on Saturday? Let's just do it that way. Who's going through in your head?
I think it'll be your side. They'll be going through the semi-finals.
Pat?
Yeah, I'm confident we can get the win.
Alan?
I'm confident we'll get the win.
Rich?
Yeah, I think we'll win.
See, so do I. I'm expecting a little Mateus Nunes break.
So we're definitely going to win.
Yes.
That's a play you can have for free. You can have Nunes for free. How about that? It would give you his crap.
I'm going to put a tenner on City to lose.
Well, that's an upgrade from Omar Barada, isn't it? Having you there.
Welcome back, Adair. How are you, mate? Yes, you've been away a while. Lovely to see you, mate. Why have you been away for so bloody long? Anyway,
night, everyone. Cheers.
Pete, Rich. I don't know if you want to stick around, but we're going to talk a bit of FFP. And Bruno, if you want to stick around, mate.
Yeah, of course. Can do.
Right, City have been linked with Bruno Guimaraes over recent days.
Guimaraes.
Don't start with your pronunciation garbage.
I
did ask
you start reading more. Oh God.
I'm not doing starting 11s. when we hit the Champions League in a few weeks and we come back to that. But if it's Real Madrid, I'm all right, or Arsenal. So if you end up with who could be really dodgy in that? Dortmund, that could be a dodgy pronunciation. But anyway, Bruno Guimaraes has been linked with Manchester City, obviously. Pete, does he have a release clause or something?
Yep, 100 million.
Right. I did ask the person who I speak to. Now, I always say reportedly, just to cover it. I did get told a few weeks back, Alan, can shake your head all you want, but you know exactly where it's come from. So you know it's true. So stop shaking your head like that. Come on. Because you know where it's come from, Alan.
Yeah, no, but
Alan, I'm not going to announce.
No. What we're doing? Signing 74 midfield players.
We're signing 2 midfielder players, Alan, in the summer.
Well, Nunes is going the other way then.
No. Your mate is going out the door. But anyway, I'm getting a bite. Obviously, we know it looks like Lucas Paqueta will be generally done. But there was, obviously, City have been linked with Kimmich, Neves, Douglas Luiz, and Bruno Guimaraes.
Guimaraes.
How many players are we buying?
So you just think we look at one player, Alan?
I'm not saying we might look at it, but mate, come on. We don't buy.
Right.
We don't buy.
Did I say we bidded? Did I say we bidded, Alan?
Right.
Or did I say we've been linked with and we hold an interest in?
Well, you know, the papers link is with about seven.
Wasn't with the papers. Alan, stop doing this live. Please stop.
All right, okay, fine.
Because you know where it's come from.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to put their name out like that. No, Alan, stop it, please. Be a bit more professional, please.
Right, okay.
Right. So, Pat, would you have him? And obviously to Pete, would he want to leave? Do you think he would want to leave? To come to Sarah.
If we didn't get European football next season, it's a possibility he could want to leave.
You say, yeah, Peter, you say that too. Do you think also too, if you were able to get 100 million for him as well too, do you think, well, that's at least that's making up for some of the, you know, say Champions League or European TV money that you're not going to get as well?
Yep.
I mean, it's a big loss to have, but
it is.
If it means more money coming through the door to possibly
some
get
money come through in a way as well.
Strengthen your midfield, or even, you know, try and go young and, you know, develop them well or something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I'd say Bruno again. The big question for me is, you know, I'm sure, and City's known for doing this, is like, we don't just sign players because of the talent. We sign them because are they going to be team players and are they going to be good in the clubhouse? Now, from what I've heard as an outsider, I've heard Bruno is a great teammate and he's good in the clubhouse, and majority of the teammates seem to love having him as a teammate there at Newcastle. Do you think, given the character, you know, you've gotten to know him better than we've ever had, you know, from what you've seen, but do you think he would be able to blend in with our players like your De Bruyne's, your Haalands, your Fodens?
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Yeah. And you'll already have Edison there anyway, so at least you'll have a co-international teammate, I suppose. Yeah.
See, Money Ducks put Paqueta and Kimmich above Bruno. No,
I agree.
no, Bruno.
I agree. I agree.
He'd not be everyone's cup of tea. Apparently, some Arsenal fans can't stand them.
Is he one of them players that you hate him when he's against you, but you love him when he's for you?
It sounds like, well, I would say for Arsenal fans, because they all go on about, oh, he should have been sent off when we beat them 1-0. Yeah, he could have been, but they don't go on about Havertz's challenge, which was a red card all day long.
That was horrible. I think the big, you know, Martin, I think the big question is, and this is why I would probably still take Kimmich, is because we look at Bruno, and Bruno can do a good job as a 6. He can cover. He's a great midfielder. He can cover a 6 if we need to rest Roger. He can do that. But do you think, even with the quality of player of Bruno, I still think, even though he's a few years younger than Kimmich, I think Kimmich hits the ground running straight away. There's none of this 6 months to a year trying to bet in.
City can't afford him. City can afford him.
City
are fine financial fair play wise. I don't know where that's come from.
From what I know, we've hardly even dipped into our prize money from the treble last season.
Yeah. You would have to pay the money all up front with there being a release clause.
But the thing is, Pete, we are totally fine with financial fair play. I don't know where this thing is. We could slap 200-300 million down in the summer without an issue. We're going to sell.
The revenue we brought in last year. That's why.
Well, not that. We'll also sell, Alan.
Yeah. And my personal opinion on it, I think there's better players available than him. He's a good player. I'm not saying he's not. He's a good player. But I think there's better players available that would do better.
Yeah, I understand. The thing is, it's not our choice. I'm just saying what we've been reported with. Like I said, Paqueta, I think we know is done. The thing that I think I did get told is the reason he looks Paqueta is because Bruno, he's got a release clause. City just love release clauses because it's so much easier to deal with.
Yep. Skip the negotiating BS. Yeah, straight in.
You're straight in, see you later, and you walk away.
Yeah.
Don't you think Paqueta and Kimmich are better players?
But what happens if Bayern turn around? There's no release clause. And if the new manager
but we hold the cards with Kimmich though, don't we? Because he's only got a season left, so we could probably get him for less than 50 mil.
Yeah, correct.
The only way, Cade, I see Neves happening is if Bernardo goes the other way. That's the
because
only
Benfica will
way
want
Neves
100. Benfica's release clause for João Neves is like 120 million euro.
Yeah,
they get a big installment of that money from us. They could send Bernardo the other way. I could still see Bernardo to Benfica happening. They will, even if they don't sell João Neves. I still think they'll have another player that they'll sell for just as much money.
I know. What about his wages? Because they can't afford his wages. Nowhere near.
We'll take a wage cut the same way Gundogan took a wage cut at Barcelona, Alan.
Yep.
At the end of the day, mate, if you want my honest opinion, and this is just my opinion, I don't think Bernardo will be here next season.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
He's got a release clause.
You'll see at the end of the season. I think by the end of the season we'll know if whether we're walking around the pit, the last home game of the season around the Etihad with the trophy in hand or not. Keep your eye on Bernardo. I think his reactions will suggest whether he's staying or going.
Yeah, we made 300 million last year. I don't know where people are worried about this. We can't spend money. I know there's a slight delay. I do apologise. My Wi-Fi is dying to death. I know why. I'm going to go and speak to him in a minute. My lad's birthday is today. He's 14 and he's had a new games console. So he's playing with his mates and it's destroyed my Wi-Fi. So he's coming off in a minute.
What's he playing on, Martin?
So I've suddenly been relegated and he's coming off that in a minute because it's killing the stream at the minute. So
what's he playing, Martin?
FFP. The new things that are coming in is that the Premier League are looking at what they do abroad, what they do with UEFA's financial fair play, PSI, whatever you want to call it, where it is going to be done on revenue. You spend a certain percentage of your revenue, which under the UEFA guidelines, it's like first year 80%, 90%, second year 80%, third year 70%. What the Premier League club's trying to do is that you can spend up to 85% of your revenue. The problem is
this is anti-competitive. It is anti-competitive because the smaller clubs can't compete. It's all about Man United, Liverpool, and Arsenal.
You two discuss it while I go and kick my lad off his PlayStation.
All right, okay. Well, I personally think it's all to protect the red cartel. And that's all it is. And if it goes down that road and people like, City are in this position because of what's happened, but if other teams like Newcastle are blocked from spending money to make themselves better team, a better club, then I'm sorry, it's an anti-competitive league. And if it's like that, I don't think I'm going to watch it. It's bullshit.
Is it any different than what it is?
It's just the powers that be flexing the muscle because they can't stand. And I saw that on that Gary Neville show and Carragher show the other night. It's all about Liverpool, Man United, and Arsenal flexing their muscles and saying, we don't want teams overtaking us.
Because they're
And I'm
frightened.
sorry, eh?
Because they're frightened of what us might
Well,
become.
it's already happening. It's already happening to them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you're seeing them trying to vote against regulations that favour the other teams.
Yeah,
The other teams are making up the 2/3 majority to get regulations imposed by the Premier League.
It's corrupt. They are turning it into a corrupt league. The sooner the Premier League is taken down and reformatted in a proper way, which is more competitive, the better. So if Newcastle spend money and buy players, for example, and beat us on the pitch, fair enough. It's up to us to do the same. I'm sorry, but I want a competitive Premier League and I want a competitive EPL.
It's never been competitive, Alan, to get that idea out your head right now.
Yeah, but
never been competitive since 1992.
Well, mate, I'm sorry, but they are turning the league into a not unwatchable league.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Name me a season the league was competitive, Alan.
In the 70s and 80s.
Arrest my case.
Yeah. When Blackburn,
United won.
Hang on. When Blackburn were allowed to do what they want, when we were allowed to do when Leicester did what they did, when Newcastle want to do what we did. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm just sorry, but Arsenal, Man United, and Liverpool can do one as far as I'm concerned.
All right, then you name me, Alan, all the Premier League winners.
Well, you've got Blackburn, Man United, Arsenal, Leicester, City, Chelsea.
Right.
Liverpool.
Why?
Liverpool.
Why did all them clubs win?
Well, you wouldn't have a if they go to revenue only, you won't have a Blackburn and you won't have a Leicester.
Right. So how
And,
did
and then in our circumstance, you probably won't have a Man City either.
So my point is, and this is not, listen, I'm not saying Newcastle shouldn't be allowed to spend. My point I'm making is, Alan, you're now fighting for the likes of Luton, etc., etc.
Yeah,
Luton were never in the Premier League to win it, Alan. I know that is not for the same, but
what chance have they got? And what chance have they got?
They've never had a chance, full stop.
So why bother competing? Why bother playing?
Well, name it. Hang on a minute. So is it competitive in Spain?
Turning up.
So is it competitive in Spain? Is it competitive in Germany?
I'm not talking about Spain. I'm talking about the Premier League. I'm talking about the corrupt Premier League, the way it's run.
No, but you're living in dream world. My point. You're fighting for something that's never existed.
Don't care. I want fairness. I want fairness. I want City to do well. Of course, I want to win every year, but they're not. Well, I know for a fact they're not going to win every year. But I want fairness, and fairness is in Pete's circumstance at Newcastle. These people have invested in their business, right? And they've been told they can't spend in their own business to make that business better, which is the biggest load of fucking lies and bullshit I've ever heard in my life, and it makes me angry. Yeah, I'm not saying City can't do it, but I want Newcastle to come up against us and see if they can beat us on the pitch. But the only way they're going to do that consistently is they're allowed to spend money. And the Shakers put money into that club to make it better, like we have done. So why can't they do the same? It's all to do with Liverpool, Manchester United, Arsenal, and probably Spurs.
No, Alan, I agree with you on some parts of that. The point I'm making is, since 1992, it wasn't competitive. United won the league. Alan, no, let me finish. You've had your 5 minutes. Let me just say something. United won 8 out of the first 11 Premier Leagues because they had the most money.
Yep.
When Chelsea had the money, they won the league. When Blackburn won the league, it's because they were rich and they spent everything else. When Leicester won the league, they got into the Premier League by failing FFP to get back in the Premier League, as they're going to do next season. Because the minute they get promoted, they're going to get points deducted. The point I'm making is, Alan, you're saying, yes, you want a competitive league. I agree with you. You should be able to spend. But my point to you, Alan, is it's never been competitive. Never, ever.
Well, it's never been competitive, even in Division 1, because Liverpool had the most money.
So you're begging for somebody
in the 70s, they had Littlewoods behind them, right?
Right, so that's my point.
And they had more money than anybody. In more money than United, more money than anybody, right? And they spent and won league after league after league after league and the European Cups.
Alan, I'm not disputing that.
Yeah.
But there has to be a middle ground. You have to have some rules, or clubs will just do what Everton do. And
but at the moment, what's the point in the Sheikh investing in Newcastle or our Sheikh investing in Man City? Because at the moment, one, they want their own cartel running everything again, and having all the power again, and winning all the leagues again, which is what they do. And this is why people are voting against them. The Premier League is the shambles.
So, in fairness, you want every team to win a treble.
No, but I want them to have a chance. I want them to have a chance to win things. If we don't play, Mark, if we don't play well and do the right things on and off the pitch, we don't deserve to win nothing. But what Man United are saying and doing is they've got their ship fucking terribly run by tosspots from America who want to dominate, right? It's not coincidence that all the Red Cartel are owned by Americans, which is true. They are. And they don't like they have a closed league in America. And this is the way they want guaranteed money from the Champions League. And if they're not getting a Champions League, they want rules that make sure that they are, even though they're shit, which they are.
So here's my question. I'm going to throw this, Pete, and I'm just going to play devil's advocate for a minute. So listen, I agree with Alan. I think FFP is wrong. I think, like I said to you, there should be a different way of doing it. Yeah. The problem is I understand what Alan's saying, but now look at this, because Newcastle fans are upset, which I understand. But and I said this, I think I put it in someone's chat. Say you were free and you could go spending.
Yeah.
Would Newcastle fans fight for Everton fans the same way? Do you understand what I mean by this? Or would you be like, we're all right because we're sort of in here and we're away? I know what. No, I'm asking the question because I've asked some Newcastle fans and some have said, we're on the outside looking in. If we were on the inside looking out, we might have a different point of view on all this.
Yeah, I think.
You know what I mean, Pete? I'm not being that to trip you up. I'm asking that in a genuine way of.
Yeah, I think I can't disagree with that. So,
because that's what I'm trying to say.
I have sympathy for Everton. I think they've gone well over the top in the punishment.
They spent 550 million when
I
they
still think they've gone, mate. The FFP should be in place, and like you say, well, there should be a body that runs along that to make sure that clubs don't do it. And if they are overspending, right, and they spent 2.5 years with Everton to try and put things right, and they did put things right, and they go and give them a 10-point deduction. What a joke. Who are these people? I'm sorry. I hate the Premier League in every way.
Yeah, I know you do, Al, because you're a big pro guy for the Super League. I understand that. We all know that.
Mate, they're driving it towards it. The way they're behaving, they are. True, they are, Martin.
It's not true. That's your opinion.
Yeah. Okay. I know Pete's pissed off with the Premier. I can see from his face.
Alan, I agree, but as I just said to Pete, if he was on the inside looking out, how would he feel? And he was honest.
Yeah. I'm over the Premier League. People that run the Premier League are jokers, the criminals.
Well, yeah, Richard Masters.
Right, calm down on the criminal stuff, Alan.
All right.
Before you start throwing allegations out.
Yeah. It's corruption, mate.
No, stop now. I'm sorry for doing this live, but stop making allegations that you have no evidence on because it will wreck this channel. Stop it now.
All right.
You cannot say stuff like that without evidence, Alan.
Okay.
Public forum.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. I've got to go to the airport in 5 minutes, mate. Anyway, so.
Anyway, my apologies, Pete, for that.
Don't worry about it.
You know what it means. You know what it's like when you think you just can't say random stuff. Now you know, everyone, why we say Alan's only on certain streams. Listen, I understand.
Hey,
Alan, Alan, one sec. I understand your point. I get it. But sadly, mate, you're living in a dream world on it.
Well,
what you want in fantasy.
Well, can I ask Pete what he thinks about it?
I was about to come to Pete. Go on, Pete. What do you think?
It needs all looked into. It's going to affect not just but it's going to affect a lot of clubs.
Yeah.
It's going to affect a lot of clubs in a way, and you fear for them as well. In terms they could get charged with it. They're going to face points deductions.
Yep, correct.
Yeah, just for me, I just wish it was. I just wish it wouldn't create such a monopoly for the Red Cartel in a way. Yeah. Because to me, it's just like whatever regulations or whatever they change that, it's always going to benefit them at the end of the day. They don't have to answer to anything, or there's no. They can basically turn around and say like, yeah, you're in breach of this, you're doing this wrong, but at the same time they're making column inches on page 34 saying, yeah, we're $1 billion in debt. Nobody bats an eyelid at it.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I think in a way it's almost like they're trying to create regulations to just basically create another Bayern Munich monopoly in the Bundesliga, or what Juventus had until their owners all got nicked in the last few years. But yeah, similar to that. But what Barca and Real Madrid do in La Liga, and basically leave scraps for leave whatever's left over for Atletico Madrid, and then the rest of the teams after that. It's if they got, I can't say that we can't expect a rosy future for every single club, but if you remove a monopoly out of it, I think you certainly make it a bit more competitive for everybody, and I think that just brings the playing field a little bit more level, because at the moment it's just like I think clubs and fans are starting to wake up to the idea that they've had all the pulling power, for the last 30 years or so, and we're seeing it now when clubs go to go to their meetings about new regulations and new rules that are coming in for this season and seasons to come. You've got the 2/3 majority going against the Red Cartel because it's not in their best interest. What was the one they had earlier this season where basically the red clubs and Spurs basically said, no, we don't want this. And then they got pretty much every other club, like 14 or 15 of the 20 clubs basically said, no, we want this. What was that regulation that they brought in? I don't know if it was anything to do with FFP. I think it was something to do with, you know what I'm talking about? There was something earlier in the season. That
was to do with Newcastle. That was stopping Newcastle's people. No, it was to stop Newcastle going to Saudi and loaning a lot of players out.
That's right. Yeah. About the
PIF
the PIF links, yeah.
But it didn't have to be a fair market value, Pete. So you had to if they were on $500,000, you would have to either match that or get into that ball.
Yeah. Oh, I can't remember exactly how it was again.
I think it might have been because it was talks about Ruben Neves possibly coming to Newcastle online. After
I think it was
there was talks of that.
Yeah.
So if you wanted Benzema and say he was on $500,000 a week, he couldn't rock into Newcastle and be on $30,000 a week to help their FFP.
Yeah,
it'd have to be
on
a similar, not similar, but a good wage.
I think it was something like that, yeah.
I mean,
I'm going to go, Martin. I'm going to go to the airport.
No problem. Calm down, Mr. Emotional.
All right. I will. I'll speak to you a bit later. See you, Pat. See you, Pete. Take care, mate. See you later.
What are Pete's opinions of what Newcastle could do to improve their chances in the current FFP limitations? Are they invested in the academy? That's a good question.
I think we've got to look at the academy as well, because it's not been good enough, really. But it would surprise me if the owners are looking into, again, more sponsorship deals. Apparently, we're looking into a training kit sponsor, possibly to help us as well. Hopefully, we'll get some players rid of. I think the players out of contract come the end of the season, we've got to go to free up the wage bill. But we start to need to look at some of the players who are still in contract and are not good enough to play for this football club anymore. Like Longstaff, I think for me so far, I'd say goodbye come the end of the season. I'll be the same with Almiron as well. I think it's time he's moved on. That's what I'll be looking, because in a way it will slightly help with the FFP.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Petey, would it help in a way? Yeah, because if FFP is going to stifle you in the transfer market, would it be worth looking into sort of long term, growing academy players or getting a really good scouting system and like turning yourself into like another Brighton or a Benfica or a Borussia Dortmund who've just been doing it for decades? Well, maybe not Brighton, but Benfica and Dortmund have been doing it for decades.
Absolutely. It's a possibility, because you want to give these like younger players a chance. I mean, we've now Lewis Miley's kicking on for us now. He's now in the first team at the moment. Well, that was due to because when we picked up a few injuries, but since he's come out of the academy and played for the first team, he's been brilliant. So
by the way, the thing on Alan is I understand Alan's point of view, and I agree with about 85% of it. The point I'm making is though, when we say Simon Jordan can't say we're guilty, like Adam McCauley yesterday with Big Steve, you are doing sports washing, and everyone went, can't say that, you got to say allegedly. Same thing. So when because the channel, so I know we're only small, but if I went on here and went, Simon Jordan is a this, that, and made accusations on him, they can be illegal.
You've cut out, Martin.
You muted. Martin's never sounded better.
I'm back, sorry. So if I went on here and went, Simon Jordan's blah, 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 and he's done this, that, and the other, and there is no evidence out there on that, I can get into trouble. There can be legal recourse if they wish to. I don't want to take the channel down that road. Not saying what Alan is saying is not possibly correct, but we have to. That's why we always say the word allegedly. That's why you hear a lot of City fans say, allegedly, we've been doing cooking the books. Because you've got to be careful. Did this on Never a Foul the other day, when I had a Liverpool fan telling me that we'd done this, and I went, no, say allegedly, because it isn't fair on Never a Foul. You've got to look at the recourse. It's a legal thing. You've got to be careful on it. Because even though, yes, we're all a fan channel, we're still all paying as businesses. This is the problem. We're still out there for the world to see.
It's a bloody minefield of liability. You got to be careful.
And that's all it is. I've just got to PD Proudlock, get over there and give him a lot of love.
Thanks very much.
I mean, the thing is, to me, the easiest way of doing FFP, like I said to you, get a pot of money.
Yep.
Make them all owners put a load of money in like a bond. So if they ever leave, that money stays within the club.
Yeah.
So they can't go bust. Because where FFP doesn't work is the likes of Reading. And someone made a point earlier. My point is, this, Pete, you're never going to get a league where you got 9 teams competing for the league.
Yep.
No league in world football is doing that. So I get Alan's point. I think Alan's just a bit on the, I want this, that, and the other. It's great, but no league in world football. Go around the league in world football. No league has 8-9 teams competing for it. That's just life. The corner shop is always going to lose out to Tesco. Asda is always, it's just the way it is. The local coffee shop is not going to beat Starbucks or Costa. Not while they got me as a customer, but you know what I mean.
Do we go there a regular lot, Martin?
Hey, Costa.
I'm surprised at this stage. I'm surprised he hasn't got a QR code tattooed on his head.
Do you what? Costa Costa coffee, actually.
If you would like to sponsor Costa, you know where we are. Send and no, but you know what I mean. It's the thing is with Newcastle. I agree. There should be more. Your owner come in, and what I'd do is have 2 or 3 years where you can spend more than other clubs. Get yourself established, get yourself right, and then go into the line of the regulations.
Yep.
Because the trouble is, there is no way of you ever growing. I said it on yours. Our training sponsor is bigger than your shirt sponsor.
It is, yep.
So how do you ever compete? How would you ever close the gap?
That's it.
So that's the I agree with Alan in that point. The point I'm making is just it's Alan's running on emotion, and I get it. And Newcastle fans are on emotion. But in the same way, United don't like us because we've knocked them off their perch. When you are winning and you're at the top, you are a bit more, I'm all right, Jack. City try to tell every single club, don't do this. Do not vote for FFP. We beg you, do not do it. We're here to help you. Mm-hmm. And Newcastle, under Ashley at the time, it may be said, it was under Ashley, didn't want to listen. Everton didn't want to listen. Other clubs didn't want to listen. Don't come back crying 10 years later. It's like Pep said. Pep called, what did he call them? The famous 9. What was it, Pat? What was the 9 he called? What was the comment from Pep?
Not, I was going to say the naughty 9, but no.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Someone put it in the comment what Pep said about the 9. Because I don't know if you've heard it, Pete, but Pep always has a little dig about them 9. All
right. No, I've not heard anything about it.
To kick City out was it football?
No, was it 8 or 9? Because 9 wasn't. 9. No, the 9th club was Sheffield United, but they turned around and said we don't want anything of this. Like they washed their hands of it.
I'm sure.
Yeah, Sheffield United were one of the 9 that were approached by. I'm assuming it was the Red Cartel, and they turned around and said no, we don't want anything of this because they knew. I think they knew deep down what it was about. Yeah.
Oh no, it is. It is 9. Pep Guardiola hits out Daniel Levy and 9 clubs who voted against City for the FFP breaches. The 9 clubs were.
Maybe it was 10, but I know Sheffield turned their back on it. They said, no, we don't want anything.
It was Burnley Football Club, Wolves Football Club, Leicester City, Newcastle United, Spurs, Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool and Chelsea wanted us all out of the Champions League. They wanted our position. They wanted to take everything we'd won on the pitch, and they wanted to take it away from us. That was a quote by Pep. 9 clubs.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's
for the record. That's a Mike Ashley Newcastle too. So
that's Mike Ashley's Newcastle.
That's a different time. Different
Newcastle. Yeah. So no hate on Newcastle right now. But the trouble is, it's why we did a show, Pete. We did a show about 3 months ago, and we called it "Turkeys Voting for Christmas."
Yeah, we did. I think we did. Yeah,
because that's what it was.
Yep.
It was. They didn't understand what they were voting for.
They didn't.
They were building a brick wall upon their own future.
Yep.
And that's the sad thing about it is, but for me, you're never going to get rid of FFP, but it needs to be a fairer solution.
Yeah, it does. It needs looked into.
Otherwise, there's no point in anyone ever doing a takeover ever again.
Absolutely not. I mean, is the new rules any different to what it is now?
Yes, Tommy did tweet that out earlier.
I don't think
that there are some pundits and journalists on very thin ice with Manchester City at the minute. That's the point I'm making. City will go after individuals and companies that have said stuff about them. That's why I always say, put allegedly, cover yourself. Because trust me, we ain't got the money to go into a bloody legal battle with anyone. Pat has, Rich has. I don't.
I'll just bribe him with free Qantas flights.
Get a disclaimer in the description of each video. These opinions are expressed and not the opinions of the Mancunian way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually a good one.
Now, you know what? I'll call up my mate who made this flag in the background. I'll just have one that I'll send to Alan just to put in the background of his house, the background of his room there, just so you... Before he even opens his trap, it's already there on. It's already there on screen for you.
Controversial profitability and sustainability rules set to be replaced as early as this summer by a new system of financial regulation. The new system will be aligned with the squad cost to revenue ratio. So there's regulation will eventually limit clubs participating in European football to only spend 70% of revenue on transfer fees, player wages, and signing on fees. So it still doesn't help Newcastle.
It's not any different. I said it's just. I don't think it's any different.
Yeah. I just don't know where to go with it. I really don't. It is a sad one. But, I mean, all I can do is hope and pray to God that it does get sorted out, because for your great club, you deserve to have. I do agree with that. You've got the owners now. It's not like they're going to be.
We did. We had so much hurt under previous owner for 14 years. We had this for.
Let them have a go. Let them try.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would cost to sponsor the charity stream? I don't think so, FIFA. Don't think they will.
I don't think so. I think for them it would cost a lot. Hey.
See, this is my thing.
I'll show myself.
I know Alan will like this. It's why I don't have a lot of sympathy for Everton, because they spent 550 million, and if you read the documents, they spent that money to get into the top 6.
Yeah, they did.
They finished 16th, 17th.
If they get another points deduction, I think they're down.
I just think if you've gambled, basically Everton gambled their house. They gambled. It didn't work. I just think we've got to be careful of saying Everton. So what we're saying is Everton can spend 5 times more money than what they earn, and that's allowed. And because they failed it, they shouldn't be punished because it's unfair.
Yeah. And in regards to Michael's comment there, we'll be used to it. We'll be used to it. We've been used to it in a way, considering when we play Crystal Palace, Crystal Palace always come up with that little own banner against our ownership every time they come and play us. So
yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
How's your fan zone getting built so quickly? Our fan zone was out before yours.
It's just on its way. It'd probably be ready for when the new season happens. So before,
because I know our fan zone is, but it won't be ready for next season.
It just depends, because Oz is not far from the ground. It's where the St James's metro station is.
No, ours is. It's going to be outside. It's bang outside.
All right, so you know first, but yeah, those.
So do you know where the extension? Have you seen the extension that's going up? So we're building a 3rd tier onto the north stand.
All right.
At the back of that, there's going to be a brand new club shop, mega store. They're calling it.
So directly opposite where your away fans sit, Peter, when they come to the Etihad, directly opposite, the opposite side of the ground.
Is it 3,000 or 4,000 fan zone? 3,000 to 4,000.
I can't remember, but I forgot. But it's getting built where the St James's metro station is.
Right. No, ours is actually at the stadium because it's going to.
All right, no, fair enough. Oh, no, it's just, going to be where
walk around the rim of the arena.
All right.
Sort of.
Yeah. That's ours is getting built separate to where the ground is, so we're near the metro station of St James's.
Newcastle need to target the league in the top 4 once they've got the team, as City did. Yeah, to me, it's a journey.
It is.
Alan's back.
Jeez, that was a quick check-in.
Anyway, gentlemen, anything you want to end on before we jump? Because the reason is my signal is dying a death here. And all I can do is apologise. I know it's not been the normal.
What did Garcia say there? Something about the A-League?
Pat, what's the A-League like?
Dead on its ass, mate. Dead on its ass. It's good for a bet. Good for a bet because it's unpredictable. So if you put a few dollars on something random like a score line or someone to score, you can make good money. But it's dead on its ass, mate. It's been handicapped by salary caps for years, and it'll always take a back seat to all the footy codes, Aussie rules, rugby league, rugby union. Always take a back seat. So they're always going to struggle.
Do you know what it is with us? Is I watched Melbourne City, and I was like, I've spotted more fans than it. I spotted more seats than it did fans.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Because what brought the fans along was no salary cap, and every club was allowed to bring in some sort of a marquee signing from Europe or anywhere really. And I go back to the days when Sydney FC had Del Piero and oh God, who else was there? And Tim Cahill. When Tim Cahill go back to Australia, he played a couple of seasons in Melbourne City. You could tell straight away. You could tell there was at least the best part of 5,000 to 10,000 more people at a game. And the second you start filling up stadiums in the A League, that's when the pro footy code media start getting on their high horse, saying, well, we can't make rugby league or AFL any better than that. So let's do our best to try and bring it down. So, the big problem for me was when they decided to bring in David Gallup as the head of Football Australia, and his job before that was the CEO of the NRL, National Rugby League. What do you think is going to happen? Straight away, salary caps come in. No more marquee signings are allowed, or if they are, it's under very, very strict regulations and very strict. As again, the salary caps handicap that as well, and players aren't going to want to come. It gets to a point now where the A League it's actually more entertaining to actually go and watch the lower divisions like the New South Wales or Victorian Premier Leagues and that, because they're actually a lot more competitive. They're a lot more fun, and there's a bit more of a suburban ground sort of atmosphere to it. And it's, you get to meet people from local communities, and even a lot of those Premier League teams, there's a lot of ethnic upbringing or ethnic heritage to it as well too. So like if you go to say Apia Leichhardt, it's all Italian communities. When you go to Sydney United out of the Denser Park, it's all Croatian. And it's very, I wouldn't say it's very tribal because of the ethnic upbringing, but they're quite welcoming of people, and they're quite, it's actually a bit more of a fun experience because you get to experience the local cultures. It's not all just like processed manufactured, and then you go in there and you're like, oh God, okay, the biggest crowd they've had here all year is 3,500 people. It's just something needs to be done with the game in Australia. It needs to come back more to grassroots. And the problem is just you've got such you're handicapped so much by the AFL, by the NRL, and by ARU, Australian Rugby Union, and that it's just always going to be so hard for them to get ahead of those codes in terms of viewership numbers and crowd numbers and things like that. I mean, football will never be as in certain parts of Australia, football will never be as big as Aussie rules. I mean, you're talking about like later tonight, I think Sydney Swans are playing Collingwood at the MCG, and they're expecting about 80 or 90,000 people. You're never going to get that at a football game unless it's a preseason match, or if the FIFA Club World Cup comes to Australia or something like that. That's just what we have to live with. But if you want Australian sport to have a bit more of an identity, then allow every sport to have at least a seat at the table. Don't handicap them by just saying like our tribalism is all based on the rugby league codes, and you want to basically put Football Australia in the corner there and just like, oh, we'll worry about you if the Socceroos do well in the World Cup or something like that, which they did. And then we went and screwed it all up by making an announcement that the next 5 seasons the A-League Grand Final would be hosted in Sydney. So if you're a fan of Perth or you're a fan of Adelaide, then it's like, well, shit, I want to go watch my team possibly win the league, but now I've got to go fly to Sydney to do it. And let's be honest, by the time your team qualifies to the final, the flights from Adelaide to Sydney or Perth to Sydney could be the best part of 500 quid return, maybe 1,000 quid return. So they just make stupid rules, stupid regulations, and they make stupid decisions at the worst possible time, and just make it a horrible experience for everybody. And that's what's so disappointing. I can see why, Premier League and European leagues are becoming more popular in Australia, because people don't know where to start or where to look at in terms of what can they do to sort of create a better experience and make it better for Australian football fans. And it's so disappointing because, it is really disappointing. It's basically like taking a business offshore, because the whole Australian manufacturing scene is just gone. There's just nothing here. There's nothing localized. There's no sort of heart and soul to it. And it's very, very disappointing.
Who asked Pat this question?
I think it was that Ali Garcia.
Because it turned into a Pat rant.
No, mate, sooner or later I was going to say something like that, and it breaks my heart, because football in Australia has always been like a hidden giant, and it's always just been handicapped by the football, the rugby codes. It's really, really, it breaks my heart. It's very, very disappointing.
Sticks that keep going back to whenever you throw them away. Anyway,
what you call a boomerang that doesn't come back. A stick.
That's why, ladies and gents, you can't have a wage cap in the Premier League because you end up with the MSL or the Aussie League. Because everyone won't stay in it. They just disappear to other leagues where they're going to get more money.
Yep.
So this is what I mean. You got to
the fan bases. You look at grassroots. You look at grassroots. Every kid is wearing a Premier League shirt. They're not wearing A-League shirts.
Yeah, you've got to have some FFP. It's got to be changed because it's too for the cartel at the moment. Anyway, big thank you, Pete, for joining us.
No problem.
Your channel description is down below. Go and show PD Proudlock a lot of love. Go and get him. He's on the aim to 3,000 subs. Go and show him a lot of love as well. Big thank you for coming on tonight, mate.
No problem at all.
You were a bit, what me in there?
Don't worry about it.
I apologize for my internet. I will sort it out. I promise you. I might need to reset my laptop and everything.
Yeah. Martin, are we on for Champions League draw later on?
What time's that?
11 a.m. your time.
No, I'll explain why off air.
Okay, right.
Because there's about 6 other channels doing it, and we're just all going to compete for the exact same bloody thing.
Yeah, thanks so much again for tonight.
What I will do, Pat, I'm going to speak to you afterwards because I'm going to speak. I'll come back to you in a minute. Anyway,
yeah, fair enough.
Thank you all to everyone who has joined us tonight. You are our legends. If you're going to the game on Saturday, please stay safe. I will be on some numerous shows tomorrow. I'm on 2 Newcastle channels, I think. I'm on 3 Black and White Eyes, 8:30 tomorrow. And I might be on John Sinclair's at 7. I'm not sure yet. That's got to be arranged. I'm going to be on LB's reaction to the Champions League, which is what I'm going to speak to Pat about. Because everyone's doing panel shows tomorrow. So everyone's just diverted off. We were going to do it, but I just if you look at City channels, they're all doing the watch along. So we're all going to end up competing for each other's viewers again.
Yep.
And it becomes a bit thing. Next week, we're going to be off for about 3 or 4 days. We'll do some at midweek, but there won't be a Thursday night show next week. We'll do some. We'll probably have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off. There will be a reaction on Saturday night to the Newcastle game when I get back from the stadium. So there will be a post-match Saturday. We'll do some probably Wednesday, and then that's it. We'll then come back Saturday, ready for the 12-hour charity stream, which I've just got to sort everyone's times out because City Extra coming on, Big Steve's coming on, and LB is. There's loads of people coming on. 9320 Pubcast hoping to do their own Pubcast live on here where I go and have a break. It's going to be mad. It's going to be really good. Lots of fun. We've got the quizzes. So if Alec Johnson is watching this or watching it back, there will be the quiz in there for the £50 City voucher, the £25 voucher, and the treble winning medal as well. So yeah, loads. And also we're even putting together plans for next season. That we're going to sit down and have a meeting with joint internationals. And trust me, if things in my head go to plan, you've got a lot more coming to you. So have fun. Thank you all. And we'll see you at some point tomorrow, somebody else say. If not, we'll see you on the Mancunian way. Saturday, post-match, where hopefully City are going back to the Etihad of the South. Take care, all.
Bye, everyone.